Welcome to episode 3 of the Monday morning sports rant. So what's on the menu today? We've got local Betway Premiership, we've got the Premier League, we've got Formula 1, the Open de France on the DP World Tour, the World Championship Athletics, the Pacific Nations Cup, the Currie Cup, and then my prediction of the Springbok team. So you'll have to stay tuned for that at the end of this report. So let's start with our local team. I live on the north coast in KZN. Got to support Richards Bay. They had a very good 1-0 win over Stellenbosch. They now move up to 10th on the table. Sekhukhune United beat Golden Arrows 1-0 and move to the top of the table. They're 1 point clear of Mamelodi Sundowns on 19 points with a game in hand. Sundowns, by the way, beat Durban City 3-1. Kaizer Chiefs' game was postponed, but they are in third place, 5 further back, and they have 2 games in hand on Sundowns. Any other results? Polokwane City beat Chippa United 2-1, and they're in 4th place. So that's the situation in local soccer. The Premier League. Big game yesterday, Man City versus Arsenal. Erling Haaland with an Erling goal. For his 6th in the league this season, and he's 3 clear of the rest. So if that continues, he's going to win the Golden Boot for sure. But Arsenal did equalise, so that was 1 apiece there. Sunderland Aston Villa 1-1. Newcastle Bournemouth goalless draw. Fulham beat Brentford 3-1. Big game on Saturday evening. Man United beat Chelsea 2-1 against form, I suppose. But you know, if you lose your keeper in the first few minutes, it'll be pretty tough to beat a decent team. Forest and Burnley 1 apiece. Also, the early match was the Merseyside derby, Liverpool winning 2-1. With that, they went 5 points clear at the top after 5 matches. So that's 1 point per match. I mean, if that continues, they'll win the league by 38 points. I know it doesn't work like that, but I'm sure Liverpool fans would love to see that. Arsenal, Spurs and Bournemouth all tied in 2nd place on 10 points. Well, technically, you take goal difference into account, but yeah, Arsenal 2nd, Tottenham 3rd, and Bournemouth 4th. Moving on to Formula 1. So, Max Verstappen with back-to-back victories. This time at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. George Russell in 2nd place with Carlos Sainz in 3rd. That's the 4th win for Verstappen this season. And Piastri still leads at 324 points with Norris on 299 and Verstappen on 255. Just having a look where they came. Bit of a different week for the Papaya McLarens. Norris came 7th, so he got 6 points. And then, of course, the leader Piastri didn't finish. So that helps with with anyone trying to chase him, but we'll see how that goes. Moving on to golf. Of course, all the Ryder Cup players weren't playing this week. On the weekend before the Ryder Cup starts, understandably. Michael Kim, the American, he's good value on X if you want to follow someone who is really honest about how his game's going. And he's had a very good season on the PGA Tour, made the Tour Championship. And he decided to play a few tournaments on the Euro Tour. And he ended up winning with a final round 6 under 65. 1 clear of Ko and Elvis Smiley. Brooks Koepka was co-leading with Min Woo Lee after 3 rounds at the Open de France. But he could only manage a 68. It'll be the first time that he hasn't played in a Ryder Cup for a while. He ended 4th. As far as the Ryder Cup's concerned, that starts on Friday. It's going to be amazing. Normally, I'd support the Europeans because they were normally the underdogs. But if you look at their team and the consistency, I know they're playing away, but if I had to bet on it, I'd probably go for Europe. Having said that, I would like the US to win. It just keeps things in balance, and I'm a big Bryson DeChambeau fan, so I'd love to see him leading the charge and riling up those New York fans. As far as South Africans concerned, top place Jaden Shaper did get a top 10, so well done to Jaden there. The World Athletics Championships came to an end yesterday with quite a few relays, and South Africa secured the bronze in the 4x400 meter. Botswana, the first African country to win the 4x400, and it was a phenomenal race. Like down the stretch, it just reached, stuck the head out, and beat USA and South Africa, who both had the same time, yet we got the bronze. So there was obviously split seconds between us there. By the way, Wade van Niekerk ran in that race, and he also competed in the 200, but yeah, didn't get into the final. The USA women's won the 4x400, and the USA won the 4x100 for the men's and women's. Pacific Nations Cup. Fiji beating Japan in the final 33-27 to defend their title and their 7th. When will they be part of the Rugby Championship? With the big tour next year between the All Blacks and South Africa, what are Argentina and Australia going to do? Well, I say have a mini tournament with Fiji and Japan and see how that goes for future inclusion into an expanded rugby championship. But that's just my opinion, trying to spread the game to those that deserve it. Wow, what a Currie Cup final. I was really busy on Saturday afternoon, and I just tuned in at the right moment. With Griquas leading, then suddenly the Lions get a penalty, Dobela slots it over, and they were leading 25-24 with a minute to go. And man alive, Griquas get the ball, they're trying their best to make a plan, and then the Lions get over the ball, steal it, penalty, game over. The Lions players were going bossies. Then the TMO gets involved, goes back, and there was a hand in. It was a knockdown, so it was a penalty to Griquas. George Whitehead, who is one of the best kickers in the country, slots it from the 10-meter line, and Griquas win the Currie Cup for the first time in 55 years. Can you believe it? 1970. So glad for them. But now the question is, where to from here? I do see that their captain, who by the way, one of the worst trophy lifts I've seen in ages. Come on, you should have practiced that in the mirror. Tebo Dlamini, who actually went to Maritzburg College and the Sharks Academy, is in the Sharks squad going over to Europe for the start of the United Rugby Championship. So good on him, well done, and I'm glad to see some of the teams drafting in players from some of the smaller unions. That's good for those individuals, but Griquas, now they win the Currie Cup, and what's the next thing? They just twiddle their thumbs until March next year in the SA Cup. It's not right. Something needs to be done. There needs to be some sort of pathway for these teams to compete at a higher level. In terms of the players, I do want to give kudos to Ronaldo Botma at Octafield. You might have seen his announcement of the Mzansi Rugby League. The draft or trials will take place in June next year, and there will be 16 privately owned teams. So that's very exciting. And man, that next level down, players can be professional rugby players. So great news, and we'll definitely have more news on that as the competition develops and as people get involved. So, the Springbok team. What is Rassie? It's not Bok Monday, it's Bok Tuesday. He will announce the team tomorrow. So let me give a guess of what he's going to do. I mean, it is impossible. Rassie's impossible to, his teams are possible to predict. But I'm going to give it a go. Obviously, I'm not going to change much from the last team. Why would you? It was one of the best performances in our history. Just one or two slight tweaks of guys that need a slight rest or others that deserve a chance. But starting at loosehead, Oxenchair, Marnus van der Merwe. I thought he was very good when he came on. So Marks drops to the bench. Vilkulo again, just demolished scrums. So he's starting. Eben comes in, of course, Louis de Jager is injured. So obviously Eben's the obvious replacement. Ruan Norkia, then Siya Kolisi, Peter Steph-Tutoy, Jasper Wiese, no changes there. I'll start Grant Williams, that is his home ground, in Durban. And Sasha Feinberg and Gomez Zulu was very good for the time he was on the field, but unfortunately the concussion. Thankfully it's been 2 weeks in, so he should be available. Ethan Hooker on the wing, Damon Willemse, Kanan Moody. Why would I change that? Then, Obviously, Fussy's injured. I know Villy LaRue's training with them, but he's supposedly being sent back, so there's no fullback unless you include Willemse, but he needs to play at 12 consistently. So Cheslin Kolbe made his name for Toulouse in 15-man rugby at fullback. So I'll move him to fullback. Makazole Mapimpi coming in on the wing. The bench, Malcolm Marx, Jan-Hendrik Wessels, Vincent Koch. Give him a chance. He hasn't played for a while. Archie Snyman. I'm going to go with a 6-2 split. Franco Mostert, who can play lock or flank. Quagga Smith, obviously. Faf de Klerk. Give Corbus the week off. I just want to see Faf. The last time he played, he was really good when he came off the bench. So let's give him a go. And then Andre Esthuizen was brilliant when he was on the field. We don't need a reserve fly half, in my opinion, because Faf can play fly half, but of course Willemse can. So, why would you need another fly half on the bench? Willemse can kick, Kolbe can kick, Faf can kick. So, and of course Esthuizen could also go on flank if needed, but if you only got 2 backs on the bench, that's probably not going to happen. Anyway, let me know what you think of everything I spoke about today, and most specifically the Springbok team. So that's a wrap for my rant. Cheers.